What are you doing?
Very good.
Not too shabby.
Everybody's
Good.
hanging in there with the uptick in coronavirus cases.
Trying.
Yeah.
The drive. I asked my parents before getting over here for Thanksgiving, and I was like, "Are you sure you're okay with us coming over here?" And they're like, "Yeah, because school and you're home all the time." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
Fair enough. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in here. Anybody have any other questions or anything before we get started?
Do you
Oh,
have
good.
something up on Roll20 right now? Because I'm not seeing anything but like a gray screen.
I do have something up on Roll20. You might
Yeah,
have
I
to...
am literally just seeing a gray screen.
Logan, you're in. Can you restart your client?
Yeah. Give me just a second.
Okay, so I'm not using this d20 today. I've rolled under 10 7 times in a row.
This would be a perfect chance to try out your dice, make sure all of them are up to snuff.
Nope, there
Turn
it
them
goes.
on, off, and back on again.
Yeah,
Turn it on.
not using the purple one today. He's gonna go in timeout.
Can you see the stuff, Logan? You've seen it before. It's not terrible. If you're having a hard time, you can go to the stream and look too. Because it should be up on there.
If it doesn't work in this client, it's still in the loading screen. But if it doesn't work in this client, I'll pull it up in a different.
I'm not rolling well right now.
Okay, sounds good. Well, while we're doing that, we'll go ahead and get started. So, last time, our heroes found their way to the hag's abode. They had a very intense interaction with her, trying to convince the group to sign a contract, forcing them to leave her alone, and in turn, she would leave the children of the city be. After some of the group had signed, they discovered some loopholes in the contract, and the rest of them reneged on the deal. They followed her into her lair and quickly sought her out to disrupt whatever foul ritual she was conducting. They succeeded in stopping the ritual and saving the children, but Helmina managed to escape. The players found some interesting papers and discovered a statue to the Chained One. Most of our heroes made their way back to the city with the children and are taking the children's parents to Zerf for her to attempt to free them of whatever curse the hag had bestowed. Meanwhile, Marsica and Excelsior are making their way to speak with Corporal Renton and give him the information on the hag's existence. Let's go ahead and start with the group that's going to see Zerf.
Cool.
So, as you guys are heading towards there, walking through the city, you bring the people before her tower, and the familiar green floating creature appears before you and says, "State your business."
Calvio is gonna say, "This is really urgent. There's been a curse placed on a lot of people. We brought 2 of them. We need your help."
I'll go speak with Zerf. And then you watch as he disappears. Not but a moment later, the door opens before you into Zerf's tower.
We very hurriedly walk in.
Okay, is everybody else following? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You all head in. The children and the parents follow you, and Zerf says, "This is still the same day, right?"
Yeah.
And this is still the same day in which Zerf said she needed the next day before she could prepare that new spell, right? Or is this the new
Correct.
day? Okay.
This is the same day.
This is the same day.
Because we came back in the evening, right? From the hags.
Yes, you guys came back.
Yeah,
in the
then this
evening.
is the same day. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Just making sure I get my timeline straight.
No, it's all good.
So, since it's evening, there we go. Walking in, there's the familiar archway and double staircase that goes around, leading farther up into the tower. And Zerf hurriedly comes down, says, "You say this is urgent? What do you need?"
I begin to explain how we pretty much found this. We wouldn't know she's a night hag, but we know she's a fiend. We found this fiend and how she was putting something magical in her pastries, and people were buying it. We think it's keeping them from sleeping and causing them to forget things and allowing her to kidnap children without them having memory of it. And that I can tell it's magical, but I don't know what kind of magical anything it is.
Well, that seems rather dire indeed. I don't have the facilities to house them all here. It seems, from your description, some sort of curse has been put upon them. I still need tomorrow before
Sure.
I can cast that spell. Maybe I can arrange for them to be transported to the Citadel in the inner ring.
We don't know how many people are affected by this. I just know for sure these two are.
Oh, well,
There could be several more.
what does Kakira or Flint say in this situation? Any commentary from you guys?
I'm passing out rations to the civilians that I have on me.
The kids and the parents?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything Kakira's doing?
Thinking.
Okay. Sounds good. She says, what was the manner of this creature that you encountered that sold them these pastries?
Notes. She was this. She had this disguise as an old lady, and our friend Excelsior wasn't with us when we came here last time, was he? No,
Yes,
he was.
He was.
My friend, the Mellow Man, got some kind of sense that she was a fiend, and then she could disappear. And when we found her, she was performing some sort of ritual with these children.
She also had a whole underground network underneath her hut.
Well, that is...
She also had they were imps, the flying things.
Yeah.
Imps, yeah. She also had several imps with her.
That is... concerning indeed. I'm assuming you sent a few of your members to go inform the guard of this,
Yes.
since it is so close to the city?
Of course.
Good. That was a good move.
I've also found all these papers that were in her room, and it talks about some strange things, and I passed them all to Zerf.
Oh, you passed them all to Zerf?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and remove those papers from your thing. And she takes a moment to read through the papers, and her eyes grow wide at one point, and she says, "We will take care of these folk. Are any among you religious type?"
Kakira raises her hand.
From what you've described, something like what they have may need restoration magic. And I cannot really help with that. do you know any restoration magic?
If you give me some time to sleep on it, I could.
Well, regardless, I'm sure those at the temple could help them as well. I will send an owl over there and have one of them come over to escort them to the temple. And so thank you for bringing them to me. I greatly appreciate it. You've done several services for this city as of yet. And she waves, and several chairs, enough chairs for the 2 children and the 4 parents, come out, and they sit down. And she says, they can wait here. I will keep them in my charge. Is there anything else that you would need from me?
Should we find more that are affected? Obviously, if the scale is large, we can't send them here.
Yes.
Where would we direct them?
If you find more, it might be hard. You might have to search to really find more, but I would send word to the Citadel. At least get them to the church in the outer ring nearby here. Speaking of the Temple of St. Mir.
You said the Temple of St. Mir?
Temple of St. Mir, yes.
M-I-R?
M-I-R.
Thank you.
Might I ask, do you know what happened of this creature?
She disappeared before we could finish her off. She was very powerful. It was
And how close was her
an
abode?
interesting fight. Fairly close, and I kind of explained from here the path that we took to get to it and how we fought the 2 red caps.
That is concerning. Well, I'm not sure what else more can be done tonight. You all should watch yourselves.
We do our best.
Is there anything else that you would like to ask of Zerf?
No,
Kakira,
I'm
Flint?
I know Calvio's tired. He wants to go to sleep.
Okay. Anything from Flint or Kakira?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Moving over then to Excelsior and Marsica. You hurriedly make your way to Fort Nurse, where you know Corporal Renton is known to be. You come to the edge of the keep and are greeted with the familiar, "Halt, state your business at the keep."
We need to see Colonel Renton. It is dire. There is a danger very close to the city that he needs to be informed of.
What danger is that? And should we let the guard know in closer to the city?
He nods. He says, we routed out a fiend's lair just on the outskirts of the city, but she was able to escape.
The fiend. There's only one of them, though.
She had several fiendish servants. We slayed all that we were made aware of. However, she may have had more.
If you like, Corporal Renton is very busy right now. We can relay this message to him.
I would appreciate that. Tell him the message came from Excelsior.
Will do. And you notice that the other guard standing next to him, there's a beat of recognition, and then he instantly kind of like gets straight and he walks in to the keep. So, recognizing your name and recognizing you from when you guys last passed through here. So is there anything else you guys would like to do here?
Didn't we have to find that one guy's son?
There's still one guard left out.
Yeah,
right?
there's a guard there.
Excelsior is going to ask, excuse me, do you happen to know of a Joseph Horadin?
Joseph Horadin. Yeah, I've heard of him, but it's been a long time. It's been a few months since I've seen him around.
I ran into his father on the way here, and he asked for me to check up on him. I just wondered if perhaps someone had seen him.
I haven't seen him in a few months. He hasn't been around the fort. Maybe he was assigned to another location before he could send his father a message.
Is that normal though?
I don't know Joseph too well, so I'm not sure what's normal for him.
Well, I mean, for the guard, would you just get assigned so quickly that you didn't have a chance to send a letter before you were deployed?
Well, he's a member of the military, not just the guard. It's possible maybe there was a threat near Gorlin, or out in the sinking country.
Okay.
And so, it's possible. I'm not sure what our superior officers have planned for us half the time.
Is there someone we could find and ask more about recent troops sent out? Might have a list of everybody that was sent out.
The Law House in the Outer Ring keeps records. That's where most civilians go in and inquire about family members that are a part of the military or the guard.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You both, as you walk back towards the city, let me go here. You both make your way back towards the city along the long dirt road. Before you get to the edge of the shanty towns, you pass the hopping huntsman. Is there anything you guys would like to say to each other?
I don't got anything unless Excelsior had something on his mind.
No, Excelsior's kind of just chilling.
Okay. Cool. So, you continue to walk. And as you walk, you both notice that there is a very tall, hooded figure walking closely behind you. At first, it seems benign. Maybe this is just a patron of the Hopping Huntsman. Maybe he's heading home. But after a while, you soon begin to realize that this man is following you.
Excelsior whips around and addresses the man. Who are you?
Seeing your full face, this hooded man says in a very monotonous tone, "So my source was accurate. Another has risen in this age. It seems Kiramon has won this contest, my brother." And you see, taking a closer look, behind the hood is a glowing set of eyes.
Glowing like my set of eyes? Or
Glowing very similar as to your eyes do.
I'm gonna say show yourself to him.
He lowers his hood, and Marsica, you see before you a being very similar to Excelsior. Metal body, metal head, but glowing yellow eyes.
I'm gonna look over at Excelsior. Do you know this guy?
Do I know this guy?
Make me a... We'll do a low, higher, the same on a d20.
Okay.
And see.
Hold on. Gotta roll a d20. I'm gonna say low.
Your number is lower than mine?
Yes.
What number did you roll?
A 10.
You rolled a 10? Okay. You don't recognize this man. As you look closer to him, he speaks up and says, "By the way you flagrantly show your nature, I take you to be a sword of Azrael."
He says that is correct. You know me.
I know of you and your kind.
As if your kind is not the same as my kind.
We're similar. You are of Azrael, and I am of Kiramon. I was tasked to bring you back before the Conclave. I'm glad to have found you early on in the awakening.
Curious. And for what reason that does the Conclave need to see me?
For reason of learning about your kind, we learn through each new member found. And in turn, they learn of their own. If you are to come, you will have a chance to help with a true corruption in this often God-forsaken world.
I've seen corruption here before my very eyes. What corruption faces this world that could pull me away from here?
You seek the greatest evil, do you not?
He nods.
We need to know we can trust you before showing the greatest evil. It is in which all of this corruption stems.
How would you have me prove my trustworthiness?
Stand before the Conclave.
Hold on. How do we know we can trust you? How do we know that you're not just trying to trick him and take him away and have him killed, and then you have us lose our robot man who can just slaughter everything for us?
Excelsior kind of puts his hand up and says, we are of many things, but we are not programmed for deceit."
It is also curious for a sword of Azrael to be traveling with a child of flesh.
What'd you call me?
He says, in this world, the bonds we make are what holds the universe together.
And
The arc, the water of the covenant is thicker than the blood of the womb.
I don't know, Excelsior. This all seems a bit suspicious to me.
I
Excelsior's-
mean you no harm. And we aim to help this place.
But you just called me a child of flesh.
And
That is
I am a
what you
child
are.
of steel.
I have a name.
I have not learned it yet. He's just staring
Robot.
blankly at you.
Excelsior says, "I will go, but I must say a goodbye first."
Meet me next to this ramshackle inn when you are ready.
Excelsior nods. Excelsior looks at Marska and says, "Come, we should find the others."
Yeah, we have a lot to tell him now.
He puts his hood back up and walks by the inn again into some nearby forest.
As they're walking, Excelsior turns to Marska and says, "Things have not always been great between us. However, I want you to know that I have appreciated your company. I do not know how long I will be away, but I have been praying to Azrael for a change, for a chance to do something greater for some time now, and I see this as a sign from my God that there is a chance for me to conquer this evil that we are just now beginning to experience."
You know, that's fair. And you're right, we haven't always seen eye to eye, but we always got along pretty dang well despite that. We're gonna miss you, buddy.
"I will miss you too. Let us find the others. I should let them know."
Okay. You all head back. I'm assuming you're all meeting back at the Pilgrim and Scroll.
I guess so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. You guys head back into the city, passing through the gates, heading towards the Pilgrim and Scroll. You see that Flint, Kakira, and Calvio are all seem to be a little on edge in a table in the corner.
We'll just head over and I'll just quietly sit down next to everybody.
Okay.
"Friends, I have an announcement."
You do?
He says, "On our way here, we met another like me, not of my kind, but like me. And there are others like me that are also working towards the end of evil. And they have asked me to join them. And I have decided that I will be going."
That sounds about right for you.
Um,
Maybe you'll get the answers you've been looking for so long.
Excelsior walks up to Calvio and hugs him.
Oh.
Calvio is like, and like hugs back, not because he doesn't want to, but because he's just surprised that Excelsior, one, knows how to hug, and two, hugged him.
Excelsior in his ear says, "You were always my favorite."
Trying not like Calvio like wants to pat his back and like goes to pat, but then remembers that he shouldn't do that and is like, "What?" In this kind of awkward state of like, "What do I?" And just kind of hugs tighter, I guess.
Excelsior takes out of his bag. He takes 1,300 gold and gives it to Calvio and says, I won't need this. Perhaps you can have more use from it."
Calvio is literally just like stammering, like, but, like not really knowing what to say at this point. Just a point of clarification, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Can I be over encumbered by gold?
Technically, yeah, but I'm gonna say no for right now.
Okay. How much gold would over encumber me?
I would have to do the math on that, and I don't want to.
Excelsior also takes off his ring and gives it to Calvio.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
"Listen, you are not as strong as I am, but this will help."
This is the plus whatever AC ring.
Plus one AC. You'd have to attune to it.
Yeah, is it an actual ring or is it a custom item?
You should be able to find it as an actual ring. Does Flint or Kakira or Marsica have anything to say? No.
I hope there's plenty of birds for you to watch where you're going.
I will think of you every time I eat a pheasant.
You don't. You know what? Okay.
I just kind of pull out my last 2 rations, and I'm like, I don't know if you can eat this,
I don't.
but I think you need this in your travel. And I just put them in your hand anyway. Just like I'll like pull your hand up and just set them in your hand, and then just like.
I will give this to the hungry.
Very well. Safe travels.
Excelsior says, I do believe that we will meet again someday.
I will add you to the ballad.
Until then, may Azrael watch over you as he's watched over me.
Just nod thank you and sit back down and continue eating.
Excelsior is going to make his way back to the place.
All right.
Calvio is gonna like just be like, wait, and like run to him like right before he gets to the door, and just kind of look at him, not really knowing what to say, and just give him one more hug before he leaves.
He says, "Be safe. Remember what we talked about."
I will always remember what we talked about. And he lets go and watches him leave.
All right.
You guys, Excelsior walks out of the tavern. What are the rest of you saying or doing to each other?
Assuming Calvio sat back down at the table, Kakira's gonna lean over and go, "Do you still have his Bible?"
No, I gave it back to him.
Oh, okay. Checking.
That would be awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, the feels.
He's got it memorized anyway, so it wouldn't be
Good point.
a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys sit there for some time. As you're eating, Marsica, make me a perception check.
Wow. Roll20 decided to give me, not Roll20, D&D Beyond decided to give me an 8.
Oh no. Okay. Cool. Then what's your passive perception? Because you wouldn't be actively searching for this. What's everybody's passive perception?
16
14.
for Marsica.
16.
I'm just gonna write it down. It's 15 though.
Okay. So
14.
since Marsica is 16, she would be the one that sees this. As the night continues on, you all are considering heading up to your rooms. You see, as you look up at the top of the staircase heading up to the rest of the rooms, you see what looks like a black tail of a cat just disappear into the hallway. And you assume it is the tavern's cat or something. But
Well, that's Calvio. Hey, Calvio,
Does
do you
this
have your
tavern have a
cat around?
Adra jumps onto my shoulder at this point, and I just look at her and say, "Yeah? Why?"
I thought I just saw. Never mind.
yeah, I mean, since you're like looking around, you see a couple of patrons are coming in from a late night, and you see quickly walking up and interestingly dressed wood elf shortly walking up the stairs. But
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Okay, so I just see the.
Yeah,
I
you just see him.
this
There's
widow.
not really anything else of interest.
But nothing. Okay, and
Yeah.
then no cat.
No cat. No more
Anywhere.
cat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Never mind then.
And so, do you guys? Is there anything else you'd like to do before making your way to sleep?
What do I need to do to attune to this ring? Do I just have to like
Spend an hour
chill
with
with
it.
I will definitely do that once I get to my room before I go to sleep.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah. So attuning to that, you spend an hour learning how it works, and it is a ring of +1 AC.
Since I work here, I'm gonna go into the kitchen and cook up like 5 more rations.
Okay. Make me a survival check
Okay.
with your proficiency bonus for what is it? Culinary tools.
$13.
13. Okay. Yeah, you're able to make two rations. So the rest of you all make your way to go to sleep, trying to deal with the implications of what happened today. Thinking about the hag, thinking about the children, the ritual. And some of you finally find sleep. Wrong button. Flint. As you lay your head down at first, sleep comes quickly. But you are plagued with terrible nightmares. You relive harrowing adventures that you had with Elgash, the times you had failed your missions. You see the faces of those you failed, the lives you were not able to save from bandits, or the horrors of the ruins you had explored. This goes on for the entirety of the night. And worse yet, at the end of the dream, you see your adopted family in a large, black, lightless expanse, looking at you disapprovingly, turning their back, and walking away.
All right, I'm gonna head down to the kitchen and start stress eating.
As you wake up, the sun is barely cresting over. You gain no benefit from this long rest. Your hit point maximum is reduced by 5. Keep track of what it would be without the reduction, but for right now, your hit point maximum is reduced by 5. And I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw. What was that? Oh, man. And you are also exhausted. Moving to Calvio now. In the middle of the night, later on, you seem to get at least some sleep. But you too are plagued by similar nightmares. However, you are awoken. It is hard to breathe. And you realize that you are unable to move before you even open your eyes. As you slowly, groggily open them, you see the true, terrible, sickly purple face of Gretel, or should I say Helmina, as recognition washes over you. She is standing over your bed, looming over you. She seems to be peering into your soul, and in turn you peer back, and there is something familiar about her. That bastard of a man hid your scent well now, didn't he? I almost didn't recognize you when you came into my hut, but when you came into my lair, I caught a whiff. She leans in and takes a great big long inhale through her nose, leaning closer into you. I will never forget his maroon cloak as he spirited you away from me as a child, as I was about to complete that ritual. But I got the last laugh in the end with that fool. Her eyes begin to glow a sickening green color. I can still see that fracture in that soul of yours I was about to tear out all those years ago. You're an adult now, so it won't work as well. But I have a quota to fill, and every little bit counts. And I never forget a soul that is owed to me. You can thank your parents for this. Helmina then plunges her fiendish hand into your chest. The pain is excruciating, as you feel as if your entire body is being shattered into millions upon millions of infinitesimal pieces. You cry out, but are only met with the low chuckling of the hag bearing down on your soul. After what seems like an eternity of pain, Helmina quietly exclaims, "There's the bugger." Among the pain there is a slight tug. And finally, a sweet sense of relief washes as the pain subsides. You fall back into a deep, deep sleep. Finally, there is peace. The rest of you sleep well. You wake up in the morning to find Flint sitting at a table stress eating. Hold on 1 second here.
I'm assuming, for all intents and purposes, this was
Calvio's
not
still
a
in
long
his
rest.
room.
This wasn't a long rest by any means.
No, not for you. No.
Okay.
Courtney, can you look at Roll20 real quick for me, please? Cool.
It's /GM.
Yeah, /W space GM, if you want to whisper
okay.
me. Okay. If you can tell me how he does so. As you're describing that to me, I'll say this next part from your perspective. You rise more, Siga, you rise more early than most folk. And you come down already seeing a very large dwarf eating at a table. And as you get your food, your breakfast, some other friends of his join. And so, okay. The rest of you see that the tavern is relatively empty right now, except for a hooded figure in a corner table. What would you all like to say or do?
I'll go join Flint at the table.
Okay.
I
Kakira.
am just scarfing food.
You're like, slow down, bud. You're gonna save room
Flint.
for like lunch and dinner too, right?
Flint has some bags under his eyes.
Even more like pale than usual.
Did you see a ghost?
I just nod, staring at my mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes for breakfast. I love it.
Platabos.
Yep.
Comfort foods.
The city's starting to awake.
Kakira's gonna also go down and talk to Flint.
Okay.
So I'm assuming she remembers watching him eat the pastries.
Yep.
At some point. So she's gonna look at Flint and say,
Not the pastries, but the food at the Hag's
food
Abode.
at her hut, and say, Zerf mentioned a restoration spell. I might be able to help you out a little bit. You look terrible.
The night haunts me.
So she's gonna just go ahead and touch his shoulder, and cast lesser restoration.
Okay. Does lesser restoration remove the effects of exhaustion, or is that greater restoration? Pretty sure that's greater.
It says you touch a creature and can end either one disease or one condition afflicting it. It says the condition can be blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned.
Okay. I think Flint, as Kakira touches your shoulder, there is a small amount of relief, more of a comfort as you feel the magic flow over you, but you are still
I just kind of
exhausted.
slow down eating.
Don't feel good. Like, it eases your anxiety, but that's about as much as it does.
I keep eating, but I'm slowing way down.
I'm not sure if that's the magic or he's getting full, but I'll take it, I guess.
I look up from my food for the first time this morning and just like look at you and just give you a nod, just like thank you. Just go back to eating.
We had somebody in the chat say Flint eating breakfast mashed potatoes is such a mood. Yep. You guys all sit there for a moment, just the three of you. It seems a little empty with Excelsior being gone. And you notice that Calvio has not come down from his room yet. And Siga, you see these three interesting folk on the other table. They seem to be having a solemn interaction of sorts.
I notice Calvio's not there, and I'm like, maybe the night haunts him as well.
Maybe one of us should go check on him. And
I can go check on him.
yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
And also, Siga, with your passive perception, you would be hearing everything they're saying.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. Just for point of order. So who's going up to check on Calvio?
I am.
Kakira, Marsica. What's Flint doing?
Eating.
Eating, just sitting there. Okay.
Yeah.
The two of you walk up and approach Calvio's room. Do you knock? Do you open? What are you doing?
Knock.
We're gonna knock on the door.
There's a swift rap at the door. There's no response.
I'll look over at Kikira and I'll be like, should we just go in? Make sure he's not dead or anything?
Yes. Let's check on him. Is the door open?
Would Calvio lock the door at night?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, door's locked.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
I could attempt to pick the lock, maybe?
Go for it.
What would that roll be
Make
Aber.
me a. Do you have thieves' tools?
I don't think so.
Okay. You could always go talk to the innkeeper and be like, "Hey, we're concerned about our friend."
Great idea. We're gonna do that.
You don't have to break the lock.
There's kind of a beautiful
Kick
irony,
that
though,
shit in.
to
I
picking
was
the
gonna
lock to
break
the
the
rogue's
door
door.
I know, that's right. Picking the lock to the rogue's door.
All right, so I'm gonna head down. I'll tell Kakira to stay there, and then I'll head down to the innkeeper and ask if we could get a spare key for Calvio's room.
You see Joseph come up. He's still a little groggy, drinking his coffee. He says, What is with your friend, Calvio?
We're just worried about him. He's usually up by now. The rest of the party is down here, so we just want to check on him. He's not answering. He's not responding to our knocks.
Oh, sure. Yes, let me go. It takes him a moment, but he quickly brings out a key.
I'll run it upstairs and go to unlock the door.
Okay. The door swings open. And before you see that in his room, it is relatively as tidy as Calvio keeps his rooms, but the bed sheets are strewn about, and Calvio is laying in the center of the bed on his back, hands and feet sprawled out.
I'll just look at Kakira and be like, go do your thing. Go check.
Yeah, she's gonna go check on him.
Okay.
Would it be a medicine check to see if he's like doing all right?
Yeah, medicine check.
That's a nat 20 plus 7.
So as far as the doing all right, no. Calvio is not doing all right. You try to stir him. He cannot be awoken. You notice that there is a pulse, but it is so slow that you almost mistake him for dead at first. But there is a pulse. There is a low, slow, shallow breath.
Do I have any idea what's going on? Is there anything I can glean from seeing him or anything?
From your experience, you don't really know.
So we absolutely cannot wake him up at all?
No, you try to shake him. You say his name, snap, clap. He's not waking up right now.
Can I spend 10 minutes and cast Prayer of Healing?
Sure. Do that.
Alright, we're gonna do that.
Okay.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna go downstairs to the rest of the group, which I guess is just Flint at this moment,
Okay.
and fill him in on what's going on.
So what do you say to Flint?
I'll tell him there's something really wrong with Calvio. He won't get up. We can't wake him up. He's barely breathing.
We should take him to the temple or to Zerf.
Good idea. I guess I'll run back upstairs to Kakira.
I grab all my food and I just take a handful of mashed potatoes and just push the plate out of the way. Just,
Oh my god.
eat the mashed
You and your
potatoes
mashed
with it.
potatoes.
Just follow her up slowly.
Nothing like comedic relief of mashed potatoes in a tense situation.
Arse taters.
Yeah. So you run back up. Flint, are you following behind or are you waiting down there?
I'm following it. No, I'm gonna actually wait down there and walk up to the front of the inn and let a guard know we have a very ill friend and we may need help getting to the temple or to Zerf.
Okay. Siga, you're hearing all of this. At any point, if you want to act, let me know. Okay.
I'm gonna go into Kakira and tell her what Flint told me about getting him to the temple, about getting Calvio to the temple.
Okay.
I guess now we should figure out how to carry him, because we kind of lost our Excelsior, so...
Yeah. I'm assuming the healing spell didn't do anything.
It does not. You complete the spell. You go back and check him, and there is no change.
Do I get hit points from that?
Yeah, for mechanically speaking, sure. You can bring your hit points back up from that.
Look, if I wake up, I want to not be almost dead from being almost dead.
Fair enough.
Do I need to actually roll then? Or...
Yeah.
Okay. 12.
Perfect.
Nice. So.
That's exactly what I needed, actually.
Uh-huh. At this point, you're realizing that this is not necessarily an affliction of flesh. It might be something deeper than that.
Would like insight or anything?
Religion might help.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll go for a religion check. Or not. That's a 10.
10? Yeah, you don't know. This is...
What is it with our religious people not rolling religion checks at all?
Your guys' religion checks are
They're
a good
really
time.
bad.
So, what is everybody doing?
I'm gonna go...
So after a few minutes, I see that they're not coming down, I suppose.
Okay. You heading up?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab the other guard out there and have him follow me up.
Yeah, the guard follows you without question.
I guess I'm gonna meet him like halfway and be like, hey, do you think there'd be like a gurney or something around we could put him on?
The guard is looking, he's like, we have some gurneys at the guardhouse. I can go get one, but it may take me 5 to 10 minutes.
That's fine. I think we're gonna need it so we can carry him.
Alright, I will be right back. He heads out. Anything you guys would like to do in that 5 or 10 minute period?
Just stand watch with Kakira. Let Kakira do whatever she's doing.
Okay.
I'll go grab the rest of my mashed potatoes.
I'm assuming we're taking him to the Sinus Temple on the inner ring, correct?
That is an option. Flint said that you should either take them to the temple or to Zerf. And you know that the Temple of St. Mir is closer to you guys in the outer ring. The temple complex is in the inner ring, and Zerf is also nearby to you guys in the outer ring. So it would be a long trek to take him all the way to the Zionist temple, like the complex.
Right.
Let's take him to the closest temple, and then one of us can go grab Zerf, and also check on the people we left there.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Sige is listening to all this, and but he's very curious, wants to know what's going on, but at the same time, he's also like, where the hell is LR?
That reminds me. Thank you for reminding me of that. Sorry. And you probably went to go check LR's room, or LR. Let's say LR left this for you under your door. So if you go over to Roll20, you go to the newspaper icon. You should have a panel for handouts, or you should have a letter from LR in your journal. Do you see it?
Yeah, I'm
Cool.
reading it. Seagaze is, yeah, he's a little like, maybe disappointed, just vaguely. He kind of was starting to enjoy a little bit of the companionship there, but he also understands, so it's kind of not too big of a deal. In that case, CK is definitely curious, so he kind of follows up everybody to go over to like Calvio's room and everything, and he kind of peers around the corner and asks if anybody needs any help.
So you all see this hooded figure peer around the corner and say this.
Fang's gonna growl.
Fang is a very large wolf, by the way.
I was gonna say, would Fang actually growl at me?
She does. Fang does whatever Marsica tells him to.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah. Marsica, you would get the sense that Fang isn't necessarily as aggressive towards this person as he is with other strangers, but he will take your cue.
I'm gonna ask you, who are you?
My name is Siga. I'll go ahead and tell them my name. I happen to be in town. I've been traveling, and I heard all the commotion downstairs. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was okay. I mean, no ill will or harm.
Okay. Well, in that case, there's not much we can really do right now. We're just waiting for a guard to return with a gurney. But if you'd like to help us carry our friend to a temple, I think we would gladly appreciate that.
I can do my best. Do you mind if I look at your friend?
Kakira?
So there's just like a hooded figure outside the room.
Looking closer, you would see that there's a little bit of a white snout protruding out from the hood, just a little bit.
Okay. Well,
I love this reaction right now.
I mean, you can't see my facial expression, but
Because Kakira is also hooded, by the way. So
she is also hooded.
let's have, since this is Siga's introduction, let's have Heaven. We'll have Heaven describe her character, then Patrick, then Michael, then David, and then Courtney.
Okay, so Marsica is a fairly tall wood elf. She's tall. She has brown hair, green eyes, very wood elfy, and she's got a big old black wolf companion, and big, like large, and then she's very outdoorsy looking. So she's wearing lots of green, like she would blend into the forest immediately if she were to be there.
See you guys. Now Patrick.
From what you can tell, Kakira is a fairly short, hooded figure, and that's about all you can see.
Flint.
I am a 4'5", very nicely dressed, 300 and probably about 30 pounds. Got a couple of nice instruments hanging at my sides on my backpack, and currently a handful of mashed potatoes.
And Michael's the only one among us who isn't a musician.
The rest of us are like, nah, I do that all the time. I don't
Yeah. David.
So it's a little bit of an interesting situation for Calvio right now. So normally, Calvio has on this like black long cloak with a hood on it. He's got super stubbly beard that's brown. He has sort of longish brown hair, not very. blue eyes, and his clothes are normally like pretty dark, and he's pretty average height, like 5'10". He's average for a human. Um, but at this point you see him like strewn on this bed, and his cloak is just like thrown up against the wall. You kind of see this like purple undershirt, and his normal pants that he's wearing and his shoes are just like thrown everywhere as well. um he's just not in a great state, but that's normally what he would look like.
And now, Siga, what does everybody see when they see you?
Okay. Currently, what they see is, oh gosh, I would say I'm probably like 7'4". I'm quite tall. But I guess right now, like you said, you might see just a tiny bit of just a tiny bit of white at the end of my snout. I would definitely have a dark hood pulled over. I'm probably wearing kind of like a leathery
The
I'm probably
party's
wearing
getting
like
taller.
a leathery thing. I've got gloves on. I've got black pants. Everything's kind of like dark, either brown or black. And the only thing you might catch, my like the bottom kind of half of my robes maybe look a little like they don't quite fit right.
Just because you're so tall.
Well, yeah, because I'm so tall. um, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess how you guys would hear me. And my voice, since I can't do it, is definitely lower than mine by like a good bit, but it's very smooth and velvety and almost has kind of like a alluring tone to it. You kind of want to listen. Um, it's that's what I've got for now.
Excellent. Do you let Siga approach to examine Calvio?
I just look at this tall person in front of me, and I'm just like,
This
my
person is like
God.
almost twice your size. Literally almost twice your
Yeah.
size.
And so I'm just like, my God, I bet you could eat as much as I can.
Fang doesn't like sense anything bad from her, and he's gonna just back down. And so then at that point, I'll be like, yeah, you can come in.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna go see Calvio. And do I pick up on anything? Can I tell how?
What kind of things are you trying to determine?
Let's see. Obviously, I know that he's not doing well. I'm assuming that, like, that they've tried to help him at this point. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to pick up on anything new. Like looking over, do I see any marks that seem out of the ordinary? Do I?
That's a good point. Kakira, you would have noticed this as well, but go ahead and make me a medicine check.
Okay.
I'll explain in just a second. Okay. Both Kakira and Siga would notice that there is a faint, just dark red mark in his chest. Ever so faint.
Okay.
Have you seen anything like this?
Have I seen anything like this?
Make me a religion check.
I'm gonna check my chest.
Okay. I'm looking at your chest. There is... make me a perception check, Flint.
Hey, we have someone who can
21 religion.
actually get a
Nice.
good religion check.
Finally, someone who can religion check.
Yes. So this seems to be an issue of spirit. This kind of mark, it looks like whatever did it to him, some fiends have this ability, and being of nature yourself, some hags, some very specific types of hags have this ability. But you've never seen it quite to this scale before. It's kind of a wound of the soul that these entities can inflict.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute. Okay.
That's okay.
Okay. So, seeing that, CK would probably turn and relay that information, what I think, to everybody. I'm still learning names. To Marsica.
Flint's perception of 10, you don't see anything. Relay that to Marsica. Okay?
Or, yeah, I would kind of let everyone know, like, what I saw, that it looks like it's a soul wound, potentially from a hag. Is that, and then I asked them, does that mean anything to you guys? Have you guys had any run-ins lately? Like, would...
And it was that
If you had any
nasty little old... We just beat her up, and she ran off, and apparently came and destroyed Calvio, and then...
Just slowly nod and take a big bite of mashed potatoes.
Wait, Flint, what did you... Because you're also saying that, when Calvio was having problems, you said maybe the night haunted him, too. Did you see something? Did you see her?
I was just haunted by the past. Everything of the night came back. No sleep came that night.
Okay.
Just take another big bite of mashed potatoes, realizing my hand's almost empty. I start looking back at the door and thinking about heading downstairs.
Get some more mashed potatoes.
Marsica's getting frustrated at this point because now she's just like, she wants to go kill this stupid freaking hag, and Calvio's like dying on the bed. So, and where's the gurney? We need the gurney. So she's gonna go run downstairs, like searching for the freaking guards that are supposed to show up with the gurney.
And as soon as you start going downstairs, 2 guards come in carrying a small gurney, big enough for Calvio.
Good.
And they say, "Where? Our fellow guard told us you needed this. Where is this needed?"
Follow me. I'll lead them to call it Calvio.
Okay. And they say, "We will accompany you, but we cannot lift the civilian. We will guard you just in case this person is still in danger."
Yeah, that's fair. And I guess I'm gonna look at everybody and see, like, all right, guys, let's get around him and get ready to move him onto the gurney.
Okay.
I'll help lift him.
I'm not that heavy. It's not that big a deal, guys.
Two of you guys can do this. It's not terribly hard.
Okay, 2 of us then.
Yeah. And so, switch the music up here as things are getting a little more lively in the tavern as the day progresses. So, 2 of you carry Calvio in the gurney. You exit the inn, and where are you heading?
The closest temple.
Yeah, the closest.
Heading to the closest temple? You head over to the nearby temple of Saint Mir. It is but a few minutes walk away from the Pilgrim Scroll, and greeting you is a diminutive man, and he says, "Welcome to the temple. My name is Pastor Knot. How can I... Oh, you have a person on the gurney."
I show him my Fireforge seal too, and I'm like, we need emergency care right now in the top quality.
Fireforge family, alright, right this way. And he kind of scuffles and leads you into a back room where there is bed, like an infirmary, basically. There's a few other people in here. And you notice that, there's just a few other people in here. And so he lays Calvio down and he says, "So what happened?"
I passed Marsica my Fireforge family seal, and I'm like, I'm going to see Zerf. And I just turn around, start walking.
And with that, I'm gonna look at him at the guy who asked what happened, and I'm gonna tell him what we think happened, which is it looks like a fiend or a hag ripped into his chest or something and damaged some part of his spirit, and just explain that.
Say a hag ripped into his spirit?
Yes.
Oh my.
That's what we think.
Well, and he's just at a loss for words. He says, "I don't have any magic here that can help that sort of thing." And Flint has already left at this point. I can send word to the temple complex, but maybe Zerf would know something.
Can we leave him here? Our friend is actually going to get Zerf right now.
Oh, yes, of course.
Cool.
Panning over to Flint, as you approach Zerf's tower in a rushed state.
If you have a state of exhaustion, I am not moving quick.
Okay, yeah. As fast as you can in your current state. The familiar green floating creature pops up again and says, "What can I do for you?"
Gilbert, it's an emergency, let me in.
He scowls and says, "What's the emergency?" Flint.
One of my friends was attacked by the hag. It's got something to do with his spirit or soul or something that I know nothing about, but I need Zerf or Elgash right now.
He kind of like nods in his, which is kind of interesting because when he nods, the whole body kind of rotates. And then he disappears. And a moment later, the door swings open.
I go in.
Zerf comes down quickly, and you also notice as Zerf comes down, there is an interesting character sitting in a chair, reading a book. Logan, go ahead and describe your character.
You see what appears to be the tallest looking goblin you've ever seen in your life. He's like 6'4", 6'5", and he's sitting and he's wearing these shimmering purple robes. They're like almost iridescent. They kind of shimmer in the light, and they're purple and they have gold inlay. You notice he's wearing a monocle. He has big scruffy sideburns, and his hair is tied up in a top knot. Out of his robe on one side, you see that he has a hand that seems to be made out of metal. And you also notice that he's kind of leaning up against a cane that he has while he's sitting in his chair.
Zerf comes down hurriedly, and she says, "Something happened to your friend. Did it have something to do with that dagger?"
No, at least as far as I know, it's not something to do with the dagger. Some tall person in a cloak told us it was a wound to the soul. He's got a weird red mark on his chest, and he's not waking up no matter what we do. He was healed a little bit by a friend, and nothing really changed. Yeah, I have no idea.
Zerf, you notice a sense of confusion and then realization come over Zerf. And she turns towards Klobar and says, Klobar, would you mind please hurrying to my study? Grab the red gem in my safe. You know how to get there.
Of course.
And
Who is that?
he's an old friend of mine. He came to visit. Apparently, his. It is not my place to tell his story. He's an old friend and an accomplished spellcaster.
Okay.
So, a moment, and she says, "Tell me, what else? What else do you know?"
I also was haunted by something in the night. I never experienced something quite like it. I don't quite feel myself either. Besides that,
Did you have terrible nightmares?
unbelievably so, in which like I've never experienced before.
You need to seek a true priest, probably one of higher in the order. I'm not sure if we have someone like that in the city here that can help you. You are extremely tired and not able to hold yourself as well, right?
That is correct.
You need a priest. Tell me, one of your companions is of divine nature, correct?
They are, I believe.
Good to know. At this point, Logan, your character comes back down with the gem. And so, do you hand it off to her or do you hold on to it?
I hand it off to her.
Okay. She takes it from you and says, "Come, we must make haste." And she checks to make sure she has her book and other ingredients, and all of you make your way into across the outer ring to Temple of Saint Mir. Pastor Nat greets with the familiar, "Hello, oh, it's you, Zerf. Come right this way." And leading them all into the chamber, you all see Calvio there laying on the bed, and everybody else is surrounding him. And Zerf first says, she kind of gasps and says, "Oh, I really hope this had nothing to do with the dagger, but he told me I would know when the time came." She comes over, and she says, and she looks towards, "Which one of you is the diviner?" You deal with divine magic, yes? I'm going to need your help. Please, come here.
Yeah, Kakira will go over there.
She produces the red gem in front on her, and she holds
Just
it.
staring at the goblin.
And she places it directly on the wound of where you saw the bit of red on his chest. She says again, "He told me this day would come. I thought it would have happened sooner. I didn't know who it would be, but you see," she points to you, and then she says, "I need you," pointing to Kakira, "put your hands on your friend.
Okay.
I'm going to need some divine magic for this. Can you expend some of your energy?"
I'm gonna cast Bardic Inspiration on Kakira.
Bardic Inspiration on Kakira. Cool. So, Kakira, how much energy are you going to expend to help with this?
Like spell slots or?
Effectively, yeah.
So I've already used 2 of my second level spell slots today.
Okay.
So
this is going to take a little bit of time this she says, as much as you are willing or able to help, we need a little bit though.
Another second level spell slot, and I guess another or a first level spell slot as well.
So both of those.
Yeah.
So over the course,
Is that a lot?
it's however much you want. It's like doing that. So basically, how this is going to work, she has the gem on top of Calvio's chest, and as you expend your first, do you expend the first or second level spell slot first?
We'll do first.
Okay, so she is going to start maneuvering almost these geometric shapes over the gem, and I'm going to need you to make me, let's say, a straight wisdom check for this as you're helping her.
Oh, jeez. I rolled a 1,
Okay.
but I have a +7.
Okay.
Clobar says, I've seen this. Actually, no, sorry, I can't do it after the roll.
You can't do it after the roll?
What is?
No,
what is
you have
Bardic
to say you're
Inspiration?
going to do it before the roll.
Cool.
I'm not used to thinking about it.
The rest of you guys, if you would like to, we can say this time. It's fine,
Okay.
since you're not used to it.
Well, in that case, since he gets a +7, I'm going to use one of my rolls, which was a 7, so that gets him a 14 versus like an 8.
Okay. So he gets a 14. That is the DC for this bit. And between you and Zerf, you see Calvio, he opens his mouth for the first time in the past hour and a half and takes in a sharp breath, but he's still relatively motionless. Marsica and Siga, since your passive perceptions are so high, you see a flash of what looks like an elven man superimposed over Calvio, and then it flashes away. And now she says, just a little bit longer. And then, are you expending a second level spell slot? This time, go ahead and roll with advantage for me.
Is it still wisdom?
Still wisdom, yeah.
15.
15. That'll do it for this. Calvio opens his eyes for a second, and again, Marsica and Siga see this flash of an elven man also opening his eyes over Calvio. And she says, "We're close. It's almost there. I think I can see the fusion. Do you have any more that can help?"
I can expend another spell slot.
Okay.
Can Siga help at this point?
You have divine magic technically since you're a druid, so yeah, you can come over.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, I'll go help.
Yeah. So Siga approaches, knowing that he also deals with divine magic. And then what spell slot are you going to do? And then so Kakira would be relieved then at this point.
We can do a second.
Second level spell slot? Okay. Go ahead and roll with advantage.
Okay. And this is a wisdom?
Yep. For you, your spellcasting modifier is wisdom, right?
Oh, I don't remember.
It is. It is. You're a druid.
It is?
You're a
Okay.
druid. So go ahead and
I
roll
was
wisdom.
like... Okay.
What do we got here?
Okay, well, you can roll for the crit.
Nice. Excellent. 7. So dirty 20. You expend your spell slot as a bit of divine magic. You feel it leave your body, and then Calvio again opens his eyes, takes a deep breath, and you two again see this elven man superimposed over him, and then it disappears. He looks around for a second. Calvio, you see all of your friends and this interesting hooded person looming over you. And then you fall again into a deep sleep. Everyone else, you notice that Calvio is asleep again, but he is breathing normally now. His pulse is normal. And a wave of relief comes over Zerf. And she says, that was a little stressful. Thank you, you two. It might take him a few days to recover. Klobar, you were looking for a path? I think this man is going to need your help.
The hobgoblin stands up, leaning on his cane, and addresses the group. He says, "I don't think we've met. My name is Klobar."
And then everybody go ahead and introduce yourselves if you'd like.
Hi, Klobar. I'm Marcicus.
I'm Kakira.
It is very nice to meet you, Kakira.
Pull out a ration and walk over to you, and I'm like, "I'm Flint. Nice to meet you," and I hand you a ration.
Oh, I can't
Mashed
turn down
potatoes.
food. Thank you.
Siga looks over and says, "It's a pleasure. I'm Siga."
Like, "Oh yes, I didn't give you one either," and I walk over to you, Sika, and I hand you a ration.
How many rations do you have left at this point?
2.
2 left. Okay.
Yeah.
Siga says, "You're very kind. Thank you."
I'm a fellow user of divination magic. I will help look after your friend.
He's going to need some help mending the bonds. Ismael was really specific in that I would knew the time and when to use that shard, and I'm glad he was right. It seems like your friend needed it.
Would
What?
Klobar know Ismael, or what about it?
Make me a history check. I don't think Klobar would have probably heard the name, but
I just walk up
Okay.
to Zerf, and I'm like, "I owe you a month's worth of food."
Oof, that's a 10.
What exactly did you do to him?
It was you're not really sure who Ismael is. But she says it is a spell that Ismael taught me. It requires the aid of 2 types of casters. We need an arcane and divine spellcasters to complete it, but he dubbed it a soul mending or soul fusion. Don't remember. I barely. It was so long ago when he told me.
Did you say soul fusion?
Soul fusion, yes.
Like somebody else's soul along with our friends?
Yes. So, in that shard was an elven man. If this were to work, this was the only option I had. But your friend were to die if I didn't try, and they have to be relatives. And this elven man has sacrificed himself and put him into this shard for some greater good. That's the story Ismael told me. And he told me there would be a man who came with a broken soul in about 20 years' time.
But our friend isn't elvish.
sometimes the blood gets diluted in many generations. I'm not sure how far away ago this elf lived.
At this point, Klobar says, I mean, look at me. I'm just an elf with a skin condition.
I laugh for the first time all day.
Yeah. Nice. So,
Will the soul affect Calvio in any way, shape, or form?
it should mostly still be a Calvio, but there will be elements of another personality that comes through. Calvio will stay in charge, but it's however much he wants. And however strong the other soul is. I've never done this before, so I don't really know for sure. But that's what Ismael told me.
Where is this Ismael now?
I've been concerned. I haven't heard from him since that encounter. He's been off the grid for about 20 years, but before that point he came to see me once every 2 or 3.
I wonder if my master would know his whereabouts.
Deacon might. I'm sure, I know they had spoken, but I'm not sure how good of friends they were.
Well, hopefully one of these days I'll make it out to Aurealis.
It is a grand city. I've only been a few times. But... well,
I've been getting the itch to travel here lately.
well, if this group would have you, their friend is probably going to need some aid.
You ought to get out some more too. Staying in that tower can't be good for you.
Klobar, you know I like my tower, I like my experiments. I don't like people very much. You are a rare exception, and these folk are actually starting to grow on me a little bit.
Oh, you remind me of Deacon.
So, and she says, now that his soul is mended, there's the matter of that dagger. Do you think that Calvio would still want this gone? Speaking to Marsica Kikira Flint.
I think so.
I don't know enough about the blade.
That dagger has kind of been plaguing him for a while. I mean, he's had some fun with it at the same time, but I'm pretty sure he wants that thing out of here.
Okay. She sits
Sort of.
down. Yes.
You mentioned something about a red orb that had some divination magic about it. Would it be possible for me to take a look at it?
Of course. You can definitely take a look at it when we come back to the temple. Your friend is going to need a few days of rest. It might behoove you to spend some time on him, help get supplies for his care with the temple. But I am tired and I'm heading back. Which inn are you all staying at?
Pilgrim and the Scroll.
All right. Well, Klobar, if you don't mind, that's where they are. Are you going to stay with them for a moment, or are you coming back to the tower with me?
I'll go back to the tower tonight. I'll catch up with them in the morning.
Okay. And so they head back. And she brings out the lead box and she says, now you know why this is in here. I'm not really sure of its nature, but what did you want to know? Did you just want to look at it?
Yeah, Klobar wants to spend some time with it.
Okay. Are you going to peer in it? So she hands it to you in the study.
before he does that, he kind of wants to kind of draw on his knowledge from working with Deacon to see if he knows anything about it just at first glance.
Okay, go ahead and make me an Arcana check for me, please.
Okay. That is a 13.
13. You would know, because of your previous experience, you would know that this is a memory orb. It's something that it's kind of an artifact that's been lost to time, and that old mages would use as a receptacle for their memories. But you also know that if they are still living, they can peer back through it and see who's watching, who's listening in, basically.
With that, he's gonna take a look in it.
Okay, make me a perception check.
Alright. It's an 18.
18. Looking in, you see a elegant and tall elven man with long blonde hair and ornate robes.
Did I see the figure earlier when Calvio was getting up and back down?
No, this is a different figure.
Okay. Zerf, have you looked in this?
I don't want to test it. I don't want things looking back at me.
He says, a strange blonde elf.
This was, from what those adventurers have told me, that was, I believe that's Magister Srin.
Is there any chance that he's still running around?
I don't know. I doubt it. Srin was active a few thousand years ago, and even elves' lifespans aren't that long. So, if he would have had to prolong his life through magical means.
He was a powerful sorcerer. I do not doubt that sort of magic exists out there.
I'm sure it does. It hasn't been found yet, in most cases, or at least those have not shared that they found it.
He puts it back in the box. Thank you for letting me look at this.
Anytime, friend. And so, is there anything else you'd like to ask?
No, I think.
Zerf?
Klobar is going to say, do you happen to have any tomes that I might borrow? I've recently finished a tome on Infernal. I obviously don't have speaking partners, but I feel like I've got a pretty good grasp of the language, so I'm looking to start a new book.
Are you looking for an instructional book on a language, or just any sort of book?
Any sort of book would be great, but instructionals are my favorite. I love picking up languages in particular.
She kind of smirks, and she doesn't even say anything and just walks back into her study, and then comes back out with a book in hand and hands it to you. And she says, I have found this book of children's stories to be enlightening and comforting.
Thank you. I will get started post haste.
So moving right along forward, it takes, since you guys rolled well, it only takes Calvio a full day to recover. You all watch him, and in that evening, some 12 hours later is the first time Calvio comes to consciousness, and all of you are there. Klobar, would you have made your way back to check on them, or would you have just stayed in the tower?
I think he would go back and check on them.
Okay, so
I immediately pass him one of my last rations when he wakes up.
as soon as Calvio wakes up, you see a handful of food in front of you. from Flint.
By this point, Klobar's kind of packed away his robes, and he's wearing his like kind of everyday clothes, and
Okay.
you can now see that his entire arm is made out of metal.
I'm just kind of like holding this ration, this food, and like looking at my arms and like patting my chest, not really saying anything, but visibly uncomfortable.
Calvio, you hear a voice saying, "Huh, human, interesting."
Hello? Hello?
No response.
None of you said anything.
Are you
None of you
feeling
said
all right?
anything.
No. We've just been here watching over you.
Nope. Okay.
You may need to eat and regain some strength.
I sit up and immediately like put my hand to where the dagger would have been on my side.
It is gone. Zerf had taken it.
Do I panic at this at all, or am I good?
You, I don't know. How would Calvio react to that? How would Calvio react to that being gone? And then how would his roommate react?
And just kind of like pat and look around and say, the dagger.
We had Zerf take it.
And I didn't put up a fight.
No.
You were a little unconscious.
You guys
Something
know that
happened.
Zerf had cast a spell before she took it. She cast some sort of spell, and then she took it.
We'll tell him that. I'll tell him exactly that.
And I suppose nobody told her to try and keep the enchantment.
Klobar says, Surf is not an enchantress. I'm not sure that she would be able to do such a thing.
By the way, while you were asleep, we gained some new friends.
We got some. Is Siga in the room? Shut up! Shut up!
Is
Siga
Siga
in the room? At this point, I notice and just. Oh. Okay. And then I see the hobgoblin, who's also tall, and I just kind of look at Kakira and just shake my head and say, I guess we're just gonna be surrounded by tall people all the time.
How
At
do you
least we-
think I feel?
Yeah, we've got Flint. He's shorter than both of us.
Yeah, but he's got size in other directions.
Oh,
I just kind of slap my belly and I'm like, I'm proud of it.
At that comment, I kind of like get confused. Like, why did I just say that? Like, really strange. And just shake it off. Like, okay, whatever. And so,
hold on, David. I'm gonna whisper you something real quick. Continue.
okay. And so I'll say, did I miss anything?
These two people showed up, and you're conscious again. That's about it.
Well, that's not.
You have an
entirely-
astounding grasp of the obvious.
You're welcome.
Confused again at why I'm saying these things.
You should probably know that in order to save your life, the Zerf had to do something called, I think, a soul transfer.
Soul fusion.
Oh, a what?
Surf
What?
implanted another soul into yours to heal your broken soul.
So my soul was broken,
More or less.
and
I'm Klobar, by the way.
hello, Klobar.
Did you see the
What?
Roll20 messages?
Yes. Oh. Hang on, I gotta remember how to do this. I can't type. I know, right?
Oh God.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Where, where is, where is Excelsior? We need to get moving. We still have to travel to Andorra.
He left, remember?
We're in Andorra.
What?
Um,
No, we were sleeping outside, and he told us about the bat that he's. What is happening?
um,
I like start rubbing my head, like
Friend, are you okay?
getting really stressed out a little bit.
A memory enters your mind of an elf walking through a practice range, practicing with a sword, and then another flash, and you are back in a library alone, reading.
And kind of like stare off for a minute, and then like seemingly come back. Are there? And then Kavio says, "Are there any side effects?" You said soul fusion.
Would
So
Clovar know if there were side effects?
Make me an Arcana check.
Okay.
Well, Zerf did say that there may be some aspects of another personality that shine through every now and then.
So there's someone in my head.
17.
Yeah.
essentially, yes.
With a spell like that, there's bound to be side effects of some kind. Whether they'll wear off or not, you're not entirely sure.
Clovar says, the magic that we used was very powerful and, I dare to say, experimental. There may be side effects.
I just kind of like take a second to try and look inward to find this other entity that's in my head.
Do you have a description of him that you would like to say? Or
Yes. So I need to find the thing. I wrote a whole thing, and I should have had that up because that would have been the smart thing to do. Be prepared.
you sent it to me
But
in a
no.
message.
Why would I be prepared for D&D?
Be prepared.
Yeah.
I was saying that at the same time you did.
Also same.
Nice.
So, the elf's name is Luron. Do you want me to read the whole description that I sent you?
Whatever you want. This is up to you.
Well, they wouldn't see this, and I wouldn't even know this yet. But Calvio doesn't even know who this person is yet, so he's like looking for them.
Yeah. So you see this fellow. The first thing you see is him speaking to, after these other bits of memory that came through, is him standing in some sort of very old, as an elf, standing in some sort of arcane equation on the ground. And he seems to be speaking with a man that is about 6 foot tall, looks to be human, and is in a long, deep maroon cloak.
Do I recognize the human he's with?
The face escapes the memory. The thing that sticks out to you is a thick maroon cloak. Calvio, also, you remember seeing a bit and flash of this cloak from your childhood. It's almost the same color.
Can I hear anything, or do I just see this?
This is what you see. Go ahead and make me an Arcana check, as there is muttering.
Did I get any sleep since you said a day passed?
After this time, this is you would have gotten sleep. Yeah, you're no longer exhausted.
Crit. Yes,
but
crit.
You're no longer exhausted, but that 5 hit points is still off the top.
Okay.
So, keep track of what it'd be
Crit.
without after. So, crit.
Yes.
Thank
you, Beyond 20.
So, you, with your newfound arcane knowledge, you sense that this is also, you remembering back, this is also an experimental sort of spell. And it has elements of conjuration, from what you can see in the spoken word. They're speaking Elvish.
I speak Elvish.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a coherent language, but you notice it as like they're reciting arcane equations.
Okay. But I get no other sense of like anyone occupying my mind at this moment.
Yeah, it's just you seeing through this fellow standing in the center of an arcane equation, and you see this man in a maroon cloak.
Can I try and verbally repeat anything I hear?
Make me a Constitution check to peer through that, or let's say Wisdom.
Just a straight Wisdom check.
Just straight Wisdom.
Oh, it was almost good.
What was it?
It's a 10.
10? Yeah, you're the most everybody hears is just a bunch of mumbling as you're looking back. So I don't know how everybody else takes that. You see Calvio is he's kind of like eyes glazed over, looking off into the distance, and he's starting to just mumble.
Klobar walks over and puts one of his big hands on his shoulder and says, "Are you okay?"
At this point, I'll come out of what I'm seeing and say that I saw magic, and there was an elf and a human that I thought I could remember, but I'm not sure. But they were doing some magic, and I could hear them chanting, and I was just trying to repeat it, but I couldn't bring myself to it somehow.
Curious. I'm very interested in your situation. I'm very interested in studying the effects of this spell. If you would have me, I would love to hang around with the 5 of you.
Calvio kind of looks perplexed at this hobgoblin's kindness, and just says, "So I take it you're quite proficient with magic."
Klobar looks at him and says, "Magic saved my life. I have devoted the rest of my life to the study and preservation of knowledge, and I've specialized in divination magic specifically." He says, "For example, try and hit me."
I slap him in the back of the head.
Make me an attack roll.
Hit his back.
Before he does that, I'm gonna use my portent roll, and it's a critical fail.
Yeah. It just misses. You go to slap, and he doesn't even move.
Just kind of look at my hand, and I'm just like, oh, okay then.
I knew that was going to happen.
Calvio kind of just like looks at his hands, and normally it feels somewhat magical, and on one hand he feels like more magical but doesn't know what he knows, and like he tries to cast mage hand like he normally would, but nothing happens. And just says, did this take my magic away? Like, almost heartbrokenly says this.
Would I know anything about that?
Can make me an Arcana check.
Mm-hmm.
Calvio starts thinking
Oof.
through like other spells that he would know, and starts looking around for Adra to see if Adra is still around.
Sorry, fam, that's an 8.
Oh, damn.
I was gonna say, would Sega know anything?
Go ahead and make me a straight intelligence roll.
Has anyone seen Adra? Has anyone seen my cat?
Holy crap, Siga. 21.
It's doing me good tonight.
Yeah. So before we get there, has anybody seen Calvio's cat, Adra?
I haven't seen her since the
Would-
night you went to sleep.
Would Adra have been dispelled because of me basically being unconscious?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Adra's gone. Adra's definitely gone.
That. Wait, is it? Find Familiar isn't conjuration or isn't concentration, right? It's just it lasts until they die.
Oh
then you
yeah,
have to
it's
summon them
an
again.
hour technically. But
Huh. I'll look into that. For now, yeah, she
I
disappeared.
don't know how that would. Yeah,
Especially with the process that you went through.
right.
Going over to Siga with the 21 intelligence, you would think that if what Zerf told you is true, that this is a new person, maybe something of Calvio was lost in the process. You know the ability to do magic is innate, so he would possibly still be able to, but maybe some of the specific capabilities have been lost or changed.
Okay. So then I'd probably relay that information. And Ziga would probably say, don't worry though, we'll get it all figured out. I'm happy to help figure that out as we go.
Calvio like hears this and acknowledges it, but just kind of like starts panicking and tries to think of other spells that he knew before, and thinks of his minor illusion spell, and then like tries to make basically just like a little orb appear in his hand, and is very surprised when this orb appears in his hand, and so he gets some kind of like relief that yes, I can still cast some magic, and then like kind of closes his hand and lets it go away. And you see a little relief from Calvio because he still has some of his magic, but doesn't exactly know everything he has at this point.
Klobar says, "See, even in your current condition, you're very talented. If you would like, I would be happy to work with you once you get to feeling better."
Calvio's still kind of like looking at his hands, like drawing some symbols in the air, trying to see if things work, and becoming more frustrated because of all of the hard work that he put in, basically now being thrown into the wind. Says, somehow I get the feeling I'll need it, but I don't know what I do and don't know anymore.
Not Excelsior. Globar sits down and leans on his cane and shows Calvio his metal arm, and he says, "You might not believe it, but I used to be a mighty warrior, and some adventurers chopped off my arm and left me for dead." And he's like, "My sword fighting days are over, but I ended up discovering a new path. So believe me when I tell you that things will look up. You will find a new path."
And Calvio just kind of just shakes his head, still trying to remember everything, and then this just kind of air of sadness comes around him, and he looks up to Marska and says, "Where did Excelsior go?"
Marsica will explain to him how the other metal guy, robot guy, showed up shortly before all of this happened, and Excelsior went with him because Azrael is like his new path for Azrael, and for him to do greater good.
Calvio immediately panics because he thinks he still has Excelsior's tome, and like looks for his bag and says, "His tome. It's okay. Did he take his tome?"
It's okay. It's okay. You don't have his tome. You're good.
Who is this Excelsior character?
He's how do I explain this? He's made of metal.
Fascinating.
And has holy magic, I think he calls it, and follows. Do I know that he follows Azrael at this point?
Yes.
In my memory?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he follows this deity Azrael.
Would I know anything about that?
Making a religion check. Those proficient, except for Kakira, because she's already done it, can make a religion check.
22.
You've heard the name. Deacon Zinlin has mentioned it.
Oh, I remember my master discussing that god. It's been some time. I'm not sure exactly what I remember, but I do remember that conversation.
Yeah. Same thing.
How do you keep rolling so high? God.
Siga's the same thing, but you've only heard the name. There's nothing else really known except really a name that keeps showing up.
At this point, Calvio kind of scoots over to the side of his bed with his hands, one of his hands hitting the side where the desk is, and realizing that there's a ring on his hand, and looks at it, and not really understanding where it came from, and just kind of holds it up and points to it, and just, when did I get this?
Excelsior gave that to you when he was leaving.
Do I have to reattune with this, by the way?
No.
Okay. Out of curiosity.
That would be lame.
It would be lame. But understandable. I also need to add this on my other character sheet. I'm glad I brought that up. Sorry, go ahead.
At this point, Pastor Nat walks in and says, "So, it seems like your friend is all right. Is there anything else that you require of the clergy?"
I don't think so. Calvio?
I don't know.
Calvio, Do you remember anything leading up to the moments that you were attacked? I fear
I was
that.
attacked.
Yeah, we think it. So we were battling this hag. You may not remember, and we think she came and attacked you in the night.
Oh,
We may not be safe here if she is still lurking about and realizes that she didn't finish the job.
all I remember is sleeping at the camp, and during our travels, and Excelsior telling us about the flying creature that was following us. That's the last that I've got.
How
I don't-
long?
I don't remember anything. I didn't even know we were in Andorra.
How long was that? How long ago was that, Aber?
That was 4 days ago in game.
4 days.
4 or
ago?
5
Okay.
days.
Okay, so I'll tell him. I'll tell him that was all 4 days ago.
Klobar says, I still believe that continuing to stay here would be folly. If you are willing to relocate to another inn, I will furnish the cost of the rooms.
I initially said I think I can manage a little bit. Then I go to my wallet or my coin purse and like try to pick it up, expecting there to be like 20 gold pieces, probably less. Actually, I think at this point I had like 10 on my purse, and like not being able to pick it up, and then just why do I? And I open it and just like shocked because it's the most money I've ever seen in my life, and just immediately shut it and look at everyone.
Oh yeah, Excelsior gave you that too.
All of this? Oh. I don't know where to put this. Okay, and then I just kind of like put it on the nightstand next to me, and am more confused now than I was when I started, basically. And I look at Klobar and say, I will take your word for it for now. And like start looking more around the room, like kind of looking at my surroundings, and still a little panicky and nervous and on edge, and say, where do you wish to go?
Would Klobar know any less frequented inns nearby?
The Sword and Mug is nearby, and it's not nearly as frequented. It's usually frequented by people who spend a lot of time at the archery range behind it.
Alright, so he's going to take them there.
Okay.
We don't necessarily have to relocate. A little bit of magic would be able to protect him wherever we decide to stay.
Could also set up a trap.
He says, certainly, I have abilities that would allow me to detect her were she to use some sort of illusion magic to sneak in.
I mean, just a simple spell could protect him.
Cavio pipes up and says, I mean, I can try and protect myself, and then attempts to cast Disguise Self, and then waits for a minute, and then takes out his mirror and looks at it and gets sad again because it doesn't work, and then puts his mirror away and shakes his head. Just, I'm so useless right now.
Wait, did I see her, Aber?
See who?
Oh, maybe I should just message you.
Awkward.
Yep. So Calvio is able to be up and moving. What are you guys doing?
I do have a question.
What's that?
So while we were waiting for Calvio to heal, would that count as another long?
Yeah, it would
rest?
count as another long rest.
Okay, so I could
No spell slots for you.
cycle through my spell slots and change around some spells.
Yeah, totally.
And that might let me make more important rolls, right?
Yes. So, are you guys leaving? Or what are you all doing?
We're still in the church, right?
Yep.
If it's all the same to you guys, I think I'd like to go speak with Zerf.
Yeah, of course.
Just to try and have some grasp of this. Do you know the full extent? He's looking at Clobar at this point of what she did. I mean, if you feel confident, you could explain it to me. I guess I don't need to go, but
How well could Clobar explain it?
You could explain it relatively well. How well would you explain it given the information you were given over the past hour? And we'll see if that's satisfaction enough for Calvio.
Okay. Clobar says, your soul was damaged. And he says, the soul is a complicated thing, and it can't be just healed any normal way. The fracture in yours was so severe that we had to essentially graft another soul onto yours. But not all souls are compatible, and so whoever's soul was in the gym had to have been some blood relation of yours. I know not too much about this individual, but I know Zerf told me that he did so knowing that it would one day be of use. So he must have been a very powerful divination sorcerer. It is normal that you are feeling some feelings of apprehension, and I sympathize. I wish I could do more for you at this time.
And is there any way for me to find out more about this other person? Do we know anything about this person besides that I might be related to them?
Zerf said that she did not know the person in the gym, but that this man, Ismail, she mentioned, did know something. This Ismail character, Zerf said she didn't know where he is, but I believe my master in Aurelia might know.
Oh.
Or Aurealis, sorry.
Calvio immediately perks up because this is his memory after the Hamlet, right?
Yep.
Okay.
A few days after, but because of the
immediately
travel time.
perks up at that name and goes through his pack to find the letter to Magister Srin, and reads it and immediately looks for the signature where it says Ismail, and hands it to Clobar, and says like this one.
That does seem to match the description. I think we may be able to find the information we need if we look in the right place.
Okay. So clearly this person that is in my head is old as dirt. Okay.
CK wants to interject and notes that you thought you heard a voice earlier at first, like they spoke to you. Can you ask it?
They said that it was interesting that I was human.
He's in your head.
Given Clobar's background as a sage, and when he's trying to recall a piece of lore, he usually knows where he can find it. Would he know where to find more information about this Ismael?
You know where you could possibly look, namely in the information from Zerf. She's mentioned an Ismael. There's also the library at the Zionist complex. And so,
I suggest that we perhaps visit the Zionist complex. They may have more information that can help us track down this Ismael.
So the Ismael... This Ismael is the person in my head, or gave her the thing that's in my head?
Apparently he knew the person that became the thing that was in your head.
Knew of,
This is getting
at least.
so complicated
Knew of,
so
at
fast.
least.
Okay. Calvio,
Sorry
one
if
last
things are
time.
too complicated.
No, I mean, David completely understands. Calvio is so beyond.
Okay, cool.
Calvio, like, one more time, looks into his head and asks and tries to, like, reach out to this other person and just, like, and says, "Do you know an Ismael?"
A voice replies and says, "In due time."
Shit. Calvio is satisfied by the fact that there was a response, but also impatient. You guys just kind of basically just see him smirk and nod and pretty much just say that, and he says that he's ready to go.
And so, you guys head out of the temple? Yep. Yes?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, it being evening, you all head out of the temple. As you get to the edge of... trying to make sure I have my right set of notes up, because this is important to find the right thing. There we go. Cool. As you get to the edge of the gate to the inner ring, off in the distance a little bit, you see a bit of a crowd. You can hear an elven man seeing in the distance, standing on top of a mess of crates. You see this elven man in common clothes bellow out, saying, "My fellow citizens, the nobility of this city don't care about you or your lives. To them, you're just a peon to move the economy and to line their pockets. The king has recently passed, and the new regent leads the kingdom ever closer to war. What are we going to do about it?" There's a mess of murmurs and nods in agreement. "Are we going to let them lead us to war and ruin?" There's a resounding "No!" "Are we going to let them lead us to light? Are we going to let lead us to lights forward?" Oh, sorry, I mistyped that. "Are we going to let them lead us towards yet another flash? No! Then come, seek the illuminaries. We will lead this age to brilliance and tear down this age-old failed customs." of the failed anthropocentric state. At this point, you see a group of guards starting to rush this gathering crowd in an attempt to apprehend the man. They all scatter and make their way about the city. And that's where we'll go ahead and end tonight. So,
Man,
woo! Thanks
that's
for
a
playing,
heavy one,
everybody.
dude.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching, and we're gonna go ahead and end the stream there.